Good morning, YouTube family. Welcome to the recap of today's live stream. This is Escape from Crazytown, and this is our recap from the Happy Crappy Hour. Today's topic is narcissists cannot stand being wrong. And the reason I want to talk about this is because I had a recent argument with somebody who who reminded me so much of the tactics that narcissists use. And I don't know if this person was a narcissist, but it seems to me that more and more people use the same narcissistic tactics or tactics that narcissists use when they are debating and when they know that they're wrong, because they refuse to admit that they're wrong. They refuse to be caught, right? They think they can evade being caught. When you catch them in a lie and you ask them a question, what will they do? Instead of answering that question, they'll evade it. They're going to redirect you to some other question you did not answer. You did not ask. They're going to answer something that you didn't even ask them, hoping that you'll be distracted and you'll forget your actual question. So what you have to do is continue to ask your question until it gets answered. And you have to be persistent, because the second thing that they hope to do is wear you down. They don't want you to ask your question. They don't want to have to answer your question. So they'll wear you down by redirecting over and over and over again until you lose your train of thought, or you lose your argument, you lose your thinking, you lose your focus from them, and then they are able to redirect you to something else. And then later on you walk around and you're like, wait a minute, we never resolved that issue. He never or she never answered the question. So you have to stay focused, and you don't get worn down. You have to wear them down. Another thing that they like to do is they're arguing on some other definition of a word that you don't even know that they are arguing from. So you're trying to figure out, why are you guys going around and around in circles, and you're using the exact same words over and over again, and yet they're not quite understanding, or they're not quite answering the question, or you're trying to define the question better and better to get them to understand you. Now, here's a better tactic. Get them to define the question. Get them to define what it is they mean, right? Get them to define the issue. What is it that they have a problem with, and what is their definition of the word that they keep using again and again and again? This is what happened to me recently with a person who was arguing with me. He would not answer my question. And by the third time, I recognized he was not answering the question. It wasn't that he just got on this some diatribe and got lost in his answer. He was definitely just refusing to answer the question. So once I determined that he was refusing to answer the question, I was done. I was not going to continue to answer his questions. I was not going to continue to go on these other tangents that he wanted to take me onto. I wanted to stay focused. I wanted the question answered, and I wanted him to define a term that he was using over and over again that apparently he liked to argue with other people over. He wanted to continue to argue over this one term and what it meant to everybody, except for he used his own particular personal definition of that term. So to denigrate and to put down everybody else's argument, because he demeaned that term or the meaning of that term. So what you have to do is you get them to define, what are the parameters of this term for you? What does this term mean to you? And then if it's their own definition and it's not the general accepted definition, point that out to them and say, look, what you're saying is not even in the dictionary. That is an opinion. So even your definition of the term, the narcissist definition of the term, is an opinion. And they want to argue their opinion. And they believe that their opinion is the only opinion that can be right. So, and definitely do not get caught up arguing opinions with the narcissist, because that's, everybody's allowed their own, right? Everybody's allowed to have their own opinions. But when something is a yes or no, a black or a white answer, there is no opinion there. There is absolute truth. And for narcissists, they believe there is no absolute truth. They think everything is subjective, but it is not. And the way you can tell them that it's not is because they can't answer your question. If they refuse to answer your question, then that must mean there is an absolute answer and they just refuse to say it. There is, their lack of definition, their lack of answer, even a yes or a no answer. This is not so many, there's so many shades that they could come up with multiple answers. They come up with 0 answers to a yes or no question. Then that shows that they are stuck in opinion mode. Do not get stuck in opinion mode with them. And that's where they catch you, get you all caught up into their trap. Once they are able to get you to talk about your opinions, then they can argue and tell you that you're wrong and that your opinions are wrong, because opinions are not based on facts, you guys. Opinions are not a factual thing. Opinions are subjective, right? But a thing that's empirical, that has data, that the data doesn't, where the data just doesn't lie, it is this number or it isn't that number, then that's where the narcissist does not want you to take the conversation. So they want to get you mad. They want to start accusing you. They want to ignore your questions. They want to pretend that they have facts and throw opinions at you as if they're facts. And then they want to accuse you of being wrong and they are right. So that's where, if you stay focused and you get them to answer your question, you have to be persistent about it. You don't get tired and let them wear you down. You hold their feet to the fire and you require that they define the terms that they keep using. Like, it's amazing to me that narcissists believe that words can have whatever meaning they want the words to have. And then everybody else has to agree to their definition of the word. So if they want to do that, you have to point out that then this becomes a debate of opinion and not of facts. All right, you guys, I just wanted to share that with you because narcissists will try to manipulate and try to push their agenda on you, push their narrative, even though they know what they're telling you is an absolute lie. They will continue to push it and be persistent with their lies. So that's where you have to be persistent with the truth. Not your truth, the truth. There is such a thing, but they want to believe that everybody has a different truth. No, everybody has different perspectives. Everybody has different opinions, but there is truth. There is something that is absolute out there, and it is truth, and you have to get them to say yes or no. And if they refuse to say that, and we've seen this at Senate hearings, we've seen this when they're interrogating people on the stand and the person's trying to evade the question, they won't answer the question. Even a judge will interject and say, you need to answer the question. That was not the question. That's when you see the tactics that the narcissist or the guilty person is trying to evade, right? They're using this evasive tactic. And what it does is it wears you down. That is the whole purpose of what they do. They want to wear you down to the point where you'll forget or you'll lose focus and you just go off on some rabbit trail and you never get your answer. And then they hope that you just never remember to come back again to ask them that question. So you guys, don't let the narcissist get away with being wrong. Get them, hold their feet to the fire. And if they don't, don't get mad. Don't get into this argument with them where you're slinging insults back and forth. That is not worth it. Keep your calm. Stay focused. Get them to answer the question. If they don't want to answer the question, fine. Conversation is over. You won because they refuse to prove their point. They refuse to even substantiate their point. They just want you to swallow their point. And accept it as truth, even though it's just opinion. All right, you guys, that is what I wanted to share with you today. I hope that that has helped you. Make them define the terms, get them to answer the question. Be persistent. Don't let them wear you down. These are the three things that they hope to do. That's what they use against us, and that's how we turn things back against them. Well, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that this has helped you in interacting with a narcissist. And when you get into these circular arguments, don't keep going in a circle. Define the terms. I hope that if this has helped you, please subscribe. Please watch a commercial once in a while. Make a comment in the comment section and share the videos. And I will see you next week.